Greetings, friends and fellow aliens, and thank you for tuning into this video. I appreciate you being here, and I want to have a little bit of a discussion with you about something that has been on my mind and frankly is irritating the hell out of me. Is the INFJ community toxic? I'm irritated, and I'm going to vent to you a little bit here because this is something obviously that I'm very close to. I've been running this channel now for over 2 years. And in that 2 years' time, I have interacted with, I think a conservative estimate would be thousands of INFJs. And none of us are clinical psychologists. We are all just on our own paths of self-discovery and trying to understand what the meaning of that is, searching for some answers, and trying to get ourselves better. So when I'm talking about the toxic INFJ community, I am not talking about the person who is on their own mission of self-discovery, like I am. I'm not talking about the people that are just trying to find something that'll resonate. I'm not talking about those of you who have approached me, and there are hundreds of you that have sent me this message either in an email or DMs or in a comment, where you say, I finally don't feel alone anymore. And these are my people. You guys, there's nothing wrong with you. You absolutely should continue to try and learn about yourself and improve. That is the good work to do, right? That makes you a better human. It improves your relationships. It improves the way you work on things. Everything about your life can start to make a little bit more sense when you have a handle on the way you are, especially if, like me, you have felt like the enigma from time to time in your life. My initial run-in with MBTI was probably over 20 years ago at this point. And it was something that resonated very deeply with me when I started to read about it, do the research, and start to understand the cognitive functions and understanding what it meant to be an INFJ. No other type dovetails to my life as INFJ has. And the more I talked to people that understand MBTI and that are very steeped in how everything works, the more confirmation I received from them and just internally that, yeah, I'm on the right track and I'm starting to understand why I work the way I do. I'm starting to understand how all those cogs turn and interact and how I see the world. And I can make positive changes according to that to get myself to a better state where I feel a bit more comfortable and a bit more secure about who I am and how I can work with others to improve my relationships with them and how I can work with myself to improve the way I am. I would not have been able to write a book, start to finish, if I didn't understand myself better as an INFJ. I wouldn't be able to work from home and have the discipline to do so if I didn't understand why I am the way I am. In fact, when I look back at my life, at all of my previous jobs and interactions and everything, through that lens, it's as if everything made so much more sense once I had a grip on the internal workings of my brain, basically my cognitive functions. That's the kind of thing that I am trying to explain to people. That's the reason that I create the content I do, is to share with you the experiences that I've had personally and to open up a bit about that to resonate. Because if we are all INFJs, then when I say certain things about my experience that have nothing to do with cognitive functions or anything else, and then I get literally hundreds of people that are saying, oh my gosh, this is so me, and this really resonates, and it's as if you're speaking the exact words that are in my head, which is something that I hear from people all the time, then I know that we're all hitting the right note. And that makes me feel like we're on this big old boat together, right? And we're going towards a destination of trying to figure these things out together, and we're all improving. This is all a very, very good thing, and not at all toxic. But there are elements in the online community for INFJs, on YouTube in particular, that are highly toxic to you and to me and to everybody. And so I wanted to run down a list of three types of people out there that interact with INFJs or are INFJs. And I gotta say, you're not helping. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit, okay? The first type out there that is a toxic element to the INFJ community are the haters. These are the people that are out there on message boards, they're in the comments, and all they want to do is tear the INFJs down. Here's the thing that just drives me up a freaking wall about this. You can get out there and say that you're any type that's not INFJ. You can say you're an INTJ, an INTP, an INFP, an ESTJ, whatever you feel like saying. You go out there and you say, this is what I am. Not a single person will question it or try to question it or look for a reason to tell you that you are not who you know deep in your heart that you are. These INFJ haters are like cockroaches out there. And you, as the person saying, I'm an INFJ, you're the food. And they are going to go towards you. And they want to rip you apart and tear you down and say that you're not who you are. It's the moment that you say, INFJ, I'm an INFJ, or you put it next to your name on like a board, like a message board or whatever else, here comes the you're not a real INFJ brigade. And yes, these people are irritating as hell. Their only purpose and how they feel fulfilled is to take your journey of self-discovery and shit on it. They know that you're going through this feeling of trying to gather up the pieces of yourself to understand what your identity is. They know that you are trying to improve yourself. They know that you have doubts and you have insecurities, and they use all of that to just trash it and trash you and say that you're not who you think you are. Now, I don't know if this comes from jealousy. If they're like, well, you say you're an INFJ, you just want to be the rarest type. I don't want to be the rarest type. And as a matter of fact, I've got plenty of videos where I talk about the fact that I don't believe that INFJs are the rarest type, because I don't think we are. Also, it's impossible to quantify, and it doesn't even matter. The haters tend to make this community toxic, because what happens is it will fall into this pattern of having to justify it. And we're doing that for our own sanity. Because when you say that you're this thing and you're really trying to learn and figure it out, and then all of a sudden somebody comes along and they're an asshole and they're telling you you are not who you know you are, your initial reaction is going to be a defensive one. Especially as somebody that has that low FI, you're really trying to figure yourself out and how you feel about everything in the world and everything around you. To have somebody coming in that has so much doubt in their mind and is really just doing nothing but trying to tear you down, that can get into your head. And it gets into my head all the time too. The haters make this community really toxic because it puts us in this position of having to defend ourselves constantly and defend how we are and what we think. And especially when it's somebody that knows a little bit about MBTI, enough to sound like they know what they're talking about, when they truly, absolutely don't. How many people have you had a conversation with online in comments or anything else that have been a clinical psychologist that understands MBTI? It's probably nobody. Clinical psychologists aren't hanging out on YouTube channels that are full of INFJ memes trying to explain to people in just, the most, clinical way possible that they are not who they actually are. No. Instead, you get these people that know just a little bit about something and just say that you're not who you are, and then spit out some stuff about functions that they read on some other site written by somebody else that copied it from somebody else, that copied it from somebody else. Honestly, man, the best way I can describe these people they're the internet cockroaches. That's exactly what these people are. Anymore, man, I just ban them when they show up on my page, and I don't care. I don't care to hear your point of view if all you're going to do is be argumentative and tell me I'm not a real INFJ and not actually punctuate what you're saying or it's impossible to take somebody seriously in that way. But to somebody who is just getting into this and just finding out that they're an INFJ, those comments cut and they hurt. And they put in all kinds of seeds of doubt, and that prevents you from growing. So my piece of advice when it comes to the haters and the toxicity of that in the INFJ community is put them in their proper place. Underneath your shoe, squished. The second type of toxic INFJs in the INFJ community. All right, look. There are people out there that just want to do INFJ entertainment. I am absolutely, raise my hand, guilty of a little bit of that. I enjoy making fun of some of the quirks that we tend to share as INFJs. I enjoy talking about the NITI loop and doing it with ridiculous characters. But the point is, I have a message behind it, and I'm trying to explain something just in a different, lighthearted, and somewhat comedic way. If I decide to get into a Totoro costume with a chainsaw to describe what it's like being an INFJ and the rage moments that you have on Halloween, then that's how I'm going to communicate it. This is who I am. I tend to communicate things sometimes in silly ways, but I try to do it always with a point. The INFJ entertainment crew, those are the people that are just reinforcing the most toxic of stereotypes. You're an INFJ, so you do this. You're an INFJ, so you are awkward, period. You're an INFJ, so you don't want to be in social situations. You're an INFJ, you're just an emotional squish that apologizes all the time. Some of those things may very well be true, but this INFJ-tainment that's out there, the just dozens and thousands, probably tens of thousands of memes telling you that you have some kind of superpowers, that you can figure everything out. You're the freaking Jedi. You know how much I hate the whole Jedi thing with INFJs, people. I really don't like it at all. It's all fake. It's all trash. It's all garbage. It's INFJ Jerry Springer on the internet. There's no value to any of that whatsoever because we are all different. We all have different experiences and we all interpret those experiences in a different way. All of our lives are different and we're going to see the world differently. We have very similar cogs in our head. We favor, as INFJs, two INFJs will favor the same functions. The I in INFJ means that you favor introversion. It doesn't mean that you are 100% introvert, period. The F in INFJ is in place of a T. You are a feeler more than you are a thinker. It doesn't mean you don't have the capacity to think. It doesn't mean that you're wandering around as just this emotional feeling jello lump that's just all kinds of squishy and just, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just jello. I'm just going to sit here and shake and hope everything works out okay. No, it's not like you don't have the capacity to think. Of course you do. And some people on that scale are much more in tune with logic, but you're still an INFJ. When you keep seeing memes over and over again, and they keep reinforcing all of these stereotypes that just get more and more ridiculous, you're hurting yourself. And those people that keep creating them, and the people that keep sharing them around saying, this is what we're like, I'm sorry, that is toxic behavior. It doesn't help anybody unless you put it in the proper context. Okay, that one's kind of funny. It's a little close to home, granted. But if you're sitting here thinking, seeing memes, you just found out you're an INFJ, you just took the test, you look it up, and all of a sudden you're seeing memes that say you have superpowers, and you're seeing things about how you hate to be around people, or you're just constantly awkward, and all these different things. You are listening to the internet telling you what you should be. I'm sorry. I have a massive problem with that. It's wrong and it's toxic. Then you have channels. And we all know who I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to use the name. There is a particular INFJ on the internet with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers who, yes, has talked about INFJ stuff, but also just does a ton of INFJ entertainment or MBTI entertainment. Now listen, I have no problem with somebody wanting to create a channel and put all that out there. But I do believe that it is toxic. I do believe that people that just watch that and absorb that information, all they're doing is taking these stereotypes that are being made light of and internalizing them and saying, oh, that's how that person is. So now you see somebody acting like one of the 16 personalities, and they're acting like a particular type. And whether it's conscious or not, you start to think, well, that's what that type is like. But you're ignoring somebody's complete history, how they are, why they make the decisions that they do, what their life has been like. It's unfair. It's unproductive. Is it funny? Sure. There are absolutely some really hilarious ones out there. But that has to come with a flip side that's a little bit more serious. And that is about you improving, being a better person, and learning about yourself in the best way possible. And you can't do that if all you do is listen to stereotypes and read memes about being an INFJ. The third type, I saved the best for last. The most toxic piece of the INFJ community are the type police. Who is the type police? There are people that run channels that will literally dress up like a police officer and cherry pick somebody's video where they say they're an INFJ and give this entire diatribe about how they're not an INFJ. They are piggybacking on your presence. This happens to me, and it's happened to me a couple times, where they may have 200 subscribers and put my name in a video in order to say this person's not a real INFJ. They don't know me. You don't know me personally. Homie, you don't know me. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what my relationships have been like. There is a 46-year history in my life that I lived through, and I know, and I can see clearly. And somebody has the absolute nerve to get online, make an ass out of themselves by taking 10 minutes of an edited video and saying, nope, that's what this person is. They're not what they say they are. They're this. You don't know anything about me, about my history, or about anyone. Kind of falls in the same category as the haters. They'll take something you post where it might just be a question or just something about being an INFJ, and will absolutely just try to word by word rip it apart to tell you, oh, in this section, you're not using your NI, it's your NE instead, because look at the way you wrote it, so on and so forth. It's like, are you freaking serious? Like, these same people will say, oh, well, they have a channel and they're talking about all these INFJ stereotypes, right? Like we're overthinkers and we're awkward and et cetera, et cetera. And how stupid are they? They think they're an INFJ and they're talking about these stereotypes. And then in the very same sentence, they will say, just look at their eyes. They don't have NI eyes. So your argument is that you're looking at a 10-minute video that is heavily edited, where I'm just leaving swaths of it out of me just staring into space or whatever else. And you're saying that I'm talking about stereotypes in terms of INFJs, and then you stereotype my behavior to say that I'm not that thing. Well, which the fuck is it? If you're type police, man, GTFO, right? These are the people that I ban the fastest because they are the most irritating and most toxic on the internet. These are the most judgmental assholes that are out there. They are willing to look at anybody in any way. And apparently they've got this superpower, and none of them are clinical psychologists, obviously, because if they were, they wouldn't be doing this. They would understand the fact that they would need to know you and know your history and your relationships and your family, things that I have talked to people about that are steeped in MBTI, in order to get a clearer picture of who I am and what functions that I'm using on a day-to-day basis. But they'll look at some little snip of you, whether it's a comment that you post somewhere or something that you talked about or something you've written or something you've said, and will just come up with this whole thing, and they'll spit out whatever kind of terminology they can find about it to tell you that, nope, you're not that, and I'm certain you're not that, because apparently they're the ones with the superpower that they can just look into your cognitive functions in 10 minutes and apparently tell you exactly who you are. I have to be honest, it sucks running a channel where you talk about INFJ stuff, because as much as there are people that you resonate with and that you help, there's this whole army of assholes that are out there. And they're really irritating. And they're the ones that are creating this toxic environment where everything related to being an INFJ just seems to be some kind of a fight. All I want to do is tell these people to knock it the fuck off, right? And just get out, because you're not needed. My journey, your journey, is your own. Nobody knows all of the moments of your life except for you. Nobody knows how you've made decisions, how you felt about them, how you see and perceive the world, how all of these things come into play, except for you. And when you start to really dig in and do the research and start reading and understanding what MBTI is about, understanding your functions, you're going to know that truth is going to show itself. You don't need somebody else to tell you. You don't need somebody else to tell you that you're not, or to tell you that the reality that you know and that you lived through is not actually reality. That they know because they read the same material you do and they just want to be an asshole about it. So I want this video to serve as a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a warning, and a little bit of a boost for you. The wake-up call aspect is to be really careful about how you interact out there in terms of being an INFJ. Are you that person that slips into that pattern of looking at the memes, thinking they're funny, sharing all the memes, and then all of a sudden you just start to identify with the memes? Because that's not you. You're being dishonest to yourself if that's what you're doing. You're just taking somebody else's impression and copying it, throwing it out there and saying, yeah, I guess this is me. But that was made by some idiot who just wanted to have a joke and be funny. And how confident are you? Are you that person that's going to take this shit that somebody's going to shovel at you, saying that they know who you truly are without knowing any more than 10 minutes of your life? And are you going to believe them? Are you going to let that person knock you down and say, yeah, I guess that is true. Like, I guess, well, they seem like they know what they're talking about. They use fancier words, or they have a better grip on the functions than I do, or whatever else. Remember that. Think about who you're believing when they're writing their own spittle-infused diatribe using all the big words that they found, but not actually able to capitalize or punctuate their sentences. You're not working with a therapist there. You're working with a troll. That's all they are. Worthless, hate-filled cockroaches. Make no mistake about how I feel about these people on the internet and how toxic they are. And the reason I get so angry about it, and the reason it is frustrating as hell running an INFJ channel, and it is a lot of work trying to come up with things to talk about in a way where I can actually try to communicate with you and let us all improve at the same time. Think about what they're doing and how they are holding you back. You've got to have your own back here, people. You really do. And you have to understand and put that in its proper perspective. Some people deserve to be listened to. Most people on the internet with some username, not even the real name, or staying anonymous, or just throwing crap at you, those trolls, forget them. Don't listen to them, ignore them, get rid of them, do what I do, ban, because I don't need that garbage. I don't need you as somebody who's hanging out with me on this channel and we're trying to figure this stuff out together. I don't need you feeling attacked by those people. I'm more than happy to kick them off of my channel. And for me, I mean, it happens. It sucks. And sometimes things are said that really hurt and really get to me. So much so where I've got to put the camera away and I don't want to record anything. So yes, these people affect me and they affect you as well. So it's just a matter of trying to get around that. And like I said, put it in its proper place, right? Garbage human beings acting in their garbage way, being trolls, and knowing absolutely nothing about you. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I believe that those people that are hurling rocks at you as an INFJ or at me as an INFJ content creator, those are the worst human beings on the internet, because they are trying to take people that genuinely want to resonate and improve, and they want to trash it, and they want to knock it down and tear you down, probably because they're feeling a certain way about themselves. Can't help you there, Chief, because you don't want the help. So all you get is the ban hammer. I'll try not to hit you too hard, but I usually hit you pretty hard with it. There's my rant, people, because I've kind of had enough of all this crap. And I'm tired of feeling like it is such a struggle to put out content as an INFJ when this is so prevalent out there. So is the INFJ community toxic? Yes and no. The loudest ones are the most toxic. Those of us that are putting our heads down and trying to make progress forward, the ones where it's a struggle to even comment on a video, to say anything about it resonating or anything at all. And I get that comment a lot too. Like, it's the first time I'm commenting, I just haven't been comfortable. Those people, right? Those of you, my sweet, sweet INFJs that are out there just trying to be a little bit better, you're the ones that matter. You're not toxic, but all of this stuff is. So do me a favor, tune out the noise. Let somebody who runs a channel hit the ban hammer a bunch of times so we can have a space where we can actually comment, watch some stuff, resonate, and have discussions and get to know other people. Like, let's do that. And the rest of this garbage, let's just throw it aside. Anyway, thank you. I hope you understood this video and all of my points and where this is coming from. I have a desire to make sure that I am improving, and I have a desire to share that journey with you in the hopes that it will resonate and that you will improve as well. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will catch you again very, very soon.